Hi, it's Kaitlyn from Really Big Plant. Thank you so much for joining me.
Really big plant.
For today's video, we are going to be doing a little repot and chat. I have this amazing new plant, which is, as you can see, a giant Thai constellation that I want to repot because it's in a really, really small pot right now. And the other thing I want to talk about is my major life update. I had my baby, and that's where I've been. It's been months since I've made a video, and now my baby is like 2.5 months old, and we're doing great. It's a boy. His name is Dylan. I'm going to introduce him to you guys a little bit later in this video. My husband is feeding him right now. I'm gonna tell you a little bit about everything that's been happening, mainly like this transition to becoming a mother and having this tiny infant. We're gonna basically just repot this plant. So let's just get into it. And Phineas came over to say hi. Say hi, Finn. Hello. I can finally sit on the floor again. I wasn't able to do that for months towards the end of my pregnancy, so this is also exciting. This is gonna be the first repotting that I've done since the last video I made when I told you guys that I was pregnant and we did like some really small plant repottings. This is very exciting for me. Okay, so this Thai constellation, this is a Monstera Deliciosa Thai Constellation, and this plant was actually from my local grocery store, Stater Bros. It's a chain in Southern California, and they've just had better and better plants as the months have gone by, so it's been a favorite place to shop for plants. But actually my husband got me this. He surprised me with it for our anniversary, which was a couple weeks ago, and he bought it sneakily and snuck it into the house when I was taking a nap, and then put it up in his office and was like, "Don't go in my office. There's a present for you and it's not wrappable." And I actually kind of thought it must have been like a piece of furniture or something. Anyway, I should have guessed. It ended up being this huge Monstera Thai constellation that he found at the grocery store. And it was only $60, 60, for this giant plant, which is just unbelievable to me. I actually have the little price tag here. $59.99 for this mega huge Thai constellation, which I think is a great deal. I've been kind of out of the loop because I've been pretty focused on like being very pregnant and then having my baby and raising a newborn, and I haven't looked at like plant prices at all or like watched anyone's shopping videos or anything, so I have no idea if this has become like a standard thing for these to be available at this size for this price, but I'm impressed. And I think that this is a steal that my husband found this plant for $60. He did say that at the grocery store, this particular plant was the biggest one. It was huge, and all the other ones were much smaller for the same price. So plant prices are usually based on the size of the pot that they're potted into, not the size of the plant itself. My husband just got really lucky and he found an enormous one for the same price as all the other much smaller plants. But it is in an 8-inch pot, and it's way too big for this little container that it's in. Woo. You see how big it is? It's amazing. These leaves are huge, and this pot is very small. So we're gonna repot it into this pot, which is a considerable size up, but I think given how big this plant is, this pot should be okay. We're gonna take a look at the root system inside of here because I have no idea what the roots look like. I'm hoping and imagining that the root system in here must be pretty big and established in order for this plant to have grown to this size. But the root system is really like underdeveloped. I'm gonna have to put it into a smaller pot than this one, but we will see. Come here. So Phineas has been doing great as a big brother to my little child. Such a good dog brother, and he was really curious about Dylan when we first brought him home. He was just very startled when Dylan would like make noises or like cry or anything like that, and he would like go check up on him and then come get us like, "Mom, Dad, your baby's crying," or whatever that thing is that's making noise. And so he was very curious about the baby in the beginning, and now when the baby cries, my dog leaves the room. He's like, I've had enough of this crying. But yeah, he's been such a good boy. He's been adjusting so well. I wasn't really sure if my dog was gonna like get depression or anything like that, because he's been an only child for like 11 years. Right? You've been an only child for 11 years? But he's been doing great, and I feel so happy that they've been getting along. They don't really play, but they'll kind of look at each other, so it's nice. This plant came with the basket that it's in, and it's inside of a plastic pot inside this basket. Take it out. Whee! Where are you going? Oh, hello. Okay. My helper. So, as you can see, this pot is quite small. Ah, shoot. All right, I'm gonna take off this. I'm wearing this wrist brace. I'm gonna take it off and see how I do. I've got like a major case of what apparently is called mom wrist from holding the baby all the time. And I have really limited mobility of my thumb and this wrist right now, and I'm hoping that it just like gets better on its own through wearing a brace, but I've been wearing this brace for like months now. Might eventually need some like injections or something to fix it, so we'll see what happens. But I'm taking the brace off because I don't want to get it all dirty. But I might need to put it back on and we figure something out, because it's hard for me to use this hand. It's really made me appreciate having thumbs, because I can't really bend the thumb on this hand, and it's been very limiting. All right, I think I might just have to cut this pot. Ow. All right, I need the wrist brace. Okay, we got the glove on top of the wrist brace. We're doing it. I can't get it out of the pot. Wow. Oh my gosh. Okay. Look at these roots. Check that out. Oh my gosh. Okay, this root system is insane. There's like almost no dirt in this pot. I can't even remember the last time it was that hard to get a plant out of a nursery pot. This is insanely well rooted in here. And these roots actually, they look great. Like very few roots that look kind of rotten, but I'm glad that we're taking this out of here, because it clearly really needs a new home, and I think it'll do perfectly fine in that huge pot. It's got plenty of roots. Wow, those are some amazing roots. When you have a root system that is this wrapped around and packed into the pot, it's generally a pretty good idea to try to separate the root ball a little bit, because these roots are so like stuck together that it's hard for them to find their way. So what I try to do is prioritize keeping like the biggest roots intact, and if a bunch of the like little ones break, that's okay. So I try to just like locate the like big mega roots and untangle those and kind of just like ignore all the other small ones. Ideally, you try to minimize breakage wherever possible, but it's not gonna be possible to untangle this root ball without doing some damage to the roots. Monstera deliciosa are such a vigorous growing plant that these roots will figure out a way to grow without being completely detangled. So I'm just gonna do like a little bit, try to just bust into this soil ball a little. All right, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna cut into the root ball a little bit on the bottom. This is not budging. I'm gonna just cut through this. Okay, I don't even know if cutting through the root ball there really even did anything because it's like not untangling that much. I feel like that's as good as I'm gonna get for now. I can't really use one of my hands, so this is really difficult. Made good progress. I'm gonna prep the pot we're gonna repot it into. I've got these mesh screens. Gonna put one over the hole in the bottom. I have this huge tub here with a brick of expanded coco coir. It starts off as a compressed brick and you just soak it in water and it like gets huge and expands. And then I put a bunch of scoops of perlite in this tub already. I'm also going to amend this with some repti bark, which is a substrate for reptiles or animals that live in like a terrarium situation. I like this stuff because it's for pets, which means that it's really, really clean. I'm gonna mix in a bunch of this as well. When you have a larger plant that you're working with in kind of a big pot, sometimes down at the bottom the soil gets really, really compacted in there like a brick. So it helps to use some like chunkier stuff in your potting mix, which creates little air pockets because plant roots need water and they also need air. Just mixing this up. And then the white stuff in here is perlite, which is like a puffed rock that also holds air. So we are just using this. And then the other stuff that I'm gonna put in here is Osmocote, which is a slow release fertilizer granule. And I'm not gonna mix it into my big tub. But I am gonna just like sprinkle it in throughout the repotting to make sure that there are nutrients available in the soil for this plant. So yeah, my baby was born in May and he was born at 36 weeks. He came a whole month early. It was a bit of a scary thing that He came so much earlier than expected. What happened was basically at the routine growth checkups at like 34 weeks, my doctors decided that my stomach was measuring too small, and it seemed like the baby had sort of stopped growing at the same rate that they had expected him to be growing, and I started getting monitored, and every time I went in for my doctor's appointment, they would send me to the hospital for like emergency monitoring, and hooked up with all of the baby monitors that they put on your stomach, and they would do blood tests and stuff like that, and I'd have to stay in the hospital like all day, and they would tell me like, okay, if we detect anything, get ready because your baby might be coming today. And it was like a month early, and this happened like several times over the course of like a week or so. I spent many days in anxiety in the hospital, spaced out over the course of about a week before my baby was born. I was like right on the cusp of what they considered elevated blood pressure, and it just kept happening. And the baby seemed like it was healthy, but they were just worried that he was so small. When that happens, they're worried that like something is wrong with his nutritional system, or he's maybe not getting as much food as he should be, or the right kind of blood supply. So they just want to get him out so that you can grow him outside in the real world. So the last day that I was in the hospital, they decided today's the day. He's coming out today. I ended up having a C-section, which was a surreal experience. Having a surgery where you're like fully clear-headed and awake it was kind of a scary experience, but he came out through the sunroof. He cried right away, and my husband was there. It was a relief to actually finally get him out, because towards the end of my pregnancy, I was just like in a lot of pain and feeling very uncomfortable. So anyway, he was born a pound bigger than they expected. He was just over 5 pounds. He was born like totally healthy and hungry, and it was just like such a blessing that he came out totally healthy and everything was fine with him. And like once he was born, everything was awesome. It was like so much stress leading up to the delivery, and then once he was finally in the world, everything was just like totally worth it and amazing, and I feel so happy to have him now. Okay, I'm gonna get this plant in here. So my human propagation was a big success. Wow, this plant is like almost too big for this pot. This root system is enormous. Worried that this pot was gonna be too big, but it clearly fits in here. So at this point, it's been many weeks now, a couple months of feeding my baby every 2 hours, which like, I don't know, I didn't realize how much work it was gonna be, which sounds kind of silly to say, but like the every 2 hour feeds is really crazy. The 2 hours starts from the beginning of each feed. So you feed the baby, and then that takes like, I don't know, like 40 minutes sometimes. Sometimes it's like 10 minutes, sometimes it's like half an hour. And then you have to burp the baby. You have to hold them upright so that they don't throw up. And then by the time you feed them and burp them, it's been like over an hour. And then you have like 40 minutes left before you have to start the whole cycle again. So it's just been so much work, and I realized that I should never again call a plant needy, because I've never had a plant that needs to be fed every 2 hours. So yeah, we finally in the past like week or two have been able to switch onto an every like 3 to 4 hour feeding schedule, and then just within the past few days he has started to sleep for like 4 to 5 hours in the night. So that's been really nice. But yeah, I've never been this like consistently sleep deprived for so long. And even then, my husband is great. He was letting me sleep a lot in the very beginning, and like I still could be, but I've been needing to make milk every few hours, otherwise your supply decreases. So I can't actually sleep through the night. It's been a lot. I mean, like totally worth it. Like I love my baby so much. But it's a lot of work. So yeah, I have a whole new appreciation for moms and for parents. So it's kind of nice to be repotting a plant and taking a little break from being a dairy cow for a few hours to repot some plants. What I like to do is put the plant in a little bit lower than where I want it to sit, and then I backfill a little bit and then gently lift the plant up a little and like kind of wiggle it around so that some of the soil, the fresh soil that I put in the pot, can work its way underneath and into the root ball. All that work that you did separating the roots is kind of like nullified by the fact that you like smash the whole root ball down. So I'll just put soil in and then like lift it and wiggle it a little bit in hopes that some of that new soil I've added works its way into the bottom of that root ball area and kind of finds its way in between some of those roots that we loosened up. So yeah, my baby was just over 5 pounds when he was born, and he's now 2.5 months old and is probably about 13 pounds at this point. So I'm proud of my husband and I because we've been doing a great job, I think, feeding him and getting him to put on weight. And now he's a super fat little baby and it's so cute. He's grown a lot and has recently become much more sentient. He's started to actually engage with some of his toys, and he started doing what's called social smiling, which is where he'll see someone and like have a big smile. It's kind of just this eating, pooping, sleeping, crying potato for a while, but now he's starting to be like a little bit more like a real tiny person. So it's been really fun to watch him grow, and these past few months have just gone by so fast. I can't believe how fast the time has flown by. He also really likes looking at plants. I'll put him in his little bassinet stroller thing and then wheel him underneath a plant, and he tends to be kind of calm when he's underneath some leaves. So that's pretty cool. I love that he loves plants. And I'm hoping that as he gets older, he will be a little helper who wants to help out with some of the plant stuff. Totally okay if he doesn't want that too, but you know, it'd be cute if he liked it. Wow, this plant needed this repotting so badly. Okay, that is amazing. It's really fun to do a huge plant repotting. I haven't repotted a giant plant in a long time. And this is really fun because this is like the only plant that I've gotten since the last time I made a video with you guys, or like since the last time I went plant shopping to Home Depot. Actually, that's not true. I got an orchid. I got a cool orchid at the orchid show in San Diego just days before my baby was born. We drove down to San Diego and we went to the annual World of Orchids show, and I did film a video, but I need to edit it still, and I will be posting that eventually. Didn't get around to it because it was like literally 3 or 4 days before I ended up having the baby. We probably wouldn't have driven down to San Diego or gone to the orchid show if I had known I was gonna deliver the baby that soon, but it was really cool. Hooray, this is awesome. I'm really excited to have repotted this, and hopefully it will continue to grow. It does have like a new leaf sheath. Wow, this looks amazing. I just like walked away to go get my little dustpan and wash my hands and came back, and this looks great. Wow, I've just had it like leaning against my dining room table since my husband got it for me because it was too big for its pot and it was falling over. And now, because it's like sitting up a little higher in this bigger pot, it looks amazing. I forgot this feeling, you guys, the feeling of awesomeness, how good it feels to repot a plant and get it looking great. So hooray. This is just a great day. I did my hair, got dressed in an outfit to film a video, and I haven't like been this put together in like literally months. And then now I've got this awesome plant. Feeling great about stuff. Doing this repotting video has just been like an awesome excuse to get all civilized looking and do a little bit of self-care in the form of like putting on some makeup and jewelry and stuff for the first time in a while. So it actually feels really, really good. Look at how tall this is. This big leaf up here, and now it's not gonna fall over. I feel great about this, and it's super special. It's the first plant that I've gotten since my baby was born. So this is this is really, really exciting and special, and it only kind of just dawned on me as I was saying that out loud, that this is the first plant I've gotten since my baby was born. It's totally beautiful and huge. I can't believe how large this leaf is. Look. Yay! I'm super curious as to what the prices are like for the Thai constellations around you, where you are living, because I've been pretty out of the loop with what's been going on in the plant world. So yeah, I would love to hear from you on what your thoughts are on like the price of this plant, and if you think it was a steal or if this is like becoming standard to find these big Thais like this. Back in the day when I lived in San Francisco, one of the plant shops I worked at had a Thai constellation that it was much bigger than this. Like the leaves were like this big. I mean, it was huge. To this day, it's still the biggest Thai constellation I'd ever seen. And the store I was working at was selling it for over $2,000. So my plan for this is actually to put it over here in this corner, which is not by a window, but I do have a grow light over here. I'm not gonna do that right now. I need to like rearrange some things and figure it out. I hope it will be able to grow vigorously and healthily and continue to put out huge leaves. So I only just got this plant like 2 or 3 weeks ago, so it hasn't grown any new leaves in my care, but I'm hoping that it will put out some new leaves soon. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this video. It was really awesome for me to get back in front of the camera and do some plant repottings and do a little plant touching, because I haven't even really interacted with any of my plants except for to water them these past few months, and I've barely been doing that. So this has been really nice. All right, should we go get the baby?
Oh, this is Really Small Plant. This is Dylan from Really Small Plant.
He's a happy, hungry little guy. He's got mega cheeks and a double chin and arm rolls and leg rolls, and he's just impressively huge. Oh, and he's grabbing my jewelry. This is why I haven't been wearing any jewelry for weeks. Let's look at the plant. It's a really big leaf. Yeah. Is that so cool? Wow. Hi, little man. Hi. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed it, and thank you for meeting my little guy, Dylan. And yeah, we both hope that you are having a fantastic planting week and that your plants are bringing you joy, and we hope to catch you in the next one. Bye.